Right, so I've been asked how I did the roses. So we're going to use pigment in red, the pigment in pink, and the golden yellow. I've already mixed my white with some pigment paste, a little bit of the white pigment ink. Now, this is the easiest way I found to do them. Doesn't suit everybody, but here we go. When it wants to come out, of course. Maybe it doesn't. Oh dear. There we go. Haven't quite cut enough off the new bottle. So it's one drop of the darker colour in the centre. When it wants to drop, of course. Then you've got your pink. So you put your paler colour. Spreads really, really well. You just have to be careful it doesn't splash and splodge, which it can do. Light's not very good in this room. I apologise for that. So we've got 2, 4, 6. We've got 7 of the pink. Spreads so well, this. Now we're going to use the yellow. We're going to need a tiny, tiny bit of yellow. It's literally just so that we can colour the edges of the petals. You're not adding a lot to it because you can get some lovely pink roses that have a natural yellow hue to them. Like that. Doesn't want to come out, this one tonight. Oh, there we go. There we go. I know some of you have said, would have put a tutorial on. Hopefully, this is going to go to plan. Doesn't always. But let's just see if it does go to plan. I'm hoping so, because I've been asked by quite a few of you, would I please do a tutorial to show you how I did them. So, we've then got the yellow. Now, I'm going to leave that to bloom a little bit. In here, all it is a little bit of resin, some white pigment paste, just a tiny, tiny bit, and some of the white ink. Now, all we're going to do with this, you're just going to get your little stick in, scrape it out, and you're just going to draw some thickish lines, literally, into your resin. If it blobs a little bit, you can always sort that out after. So, as we all know, if it's a little bit thicker, your line, it spreads better. There's no fantastic technique to this. It's just literally a case of putting your lines in like that. Just scrape it off the back so it's not flooded. A little stir. Just take the biggest part off and sort of overlap the lines. Because we all know that a natural rose can come in many different shapes and colours. Oh, might be a little bit too close. Like that. The only thing is, we've got to wait now till tomorrow to see what they look like. And I'm hoping this is going to come out as good as my very first one did. I would be so pleased if it does. Everybody has gone mad that's been on my page, and they've had a look at them and they've said, oh, can you make me one exactly the same? And I said, well, unfortunately, I can't do them exactly the same. The best will in the world, you can never get them exactly the same. Which is a pity, because they're so, so pretty. So, so pretty. I've got pink in that now. I'll just do the same again on the next one. Just literally draw your lines. They're like dashes that you're putting into them, in effect. Make sure they're fairly thick. Not everybody's technique, I know, but this is the one that worked for me, and I found it really, really good. So you're just scraping off the excess that you don't want. Anything that squiggles, we can come back and sort out before we finish. Can't be helped, unfortunately. It's not the most precise method, I know. Whoops, there we go. And then we just go along and fill the gaps like that. And if you've got any that blob, just get a cocktail stick, smooth the edges out. I've not filled these moulds right to the top, by the way, if anyone notices they're not full to the top. There's a reason why they're not full to the top, because I'm going to put a second coat on these tomorrow of just a very light glittery background. Nothing too exasperated by tons of glitter, and just a tiny little bit of glitter in, just to give it that little judge, so to speak. Let's get it moving along. And then I leave them for about 10 minutes. If you hear any weird and wonderful noises in the background, we've got 2 German Shepherds, and they're, the moment they're playing just outside my window. So they've been a little bit on the loud side, I must say. So that's literally all you do with that. You can come along with your cocktail stick, and where you think it's a bit thick, and you think it needs to just be smoothed out, you literally just drag on it, take them large blobs away like that. Just give it a little wipe on a piece of napkin or kitchen towel, whatever you happen to have near. Just smooth the edges off. You don't want it to just decide it's going to drop. And then what we do, we leave this for about 10 minutes. Just so that it starts to move. And then we'll come along and we'd literally just draw through it. Smooth anything that looks a bit bulky or heavy. Does not have to be precise. Like that. Just give it a little move. There we go. So we're just going to leave that just for a few minutes, and then we'll come back to that, see how it goes after it's bloomed a little bit. Doesn't look too spectacular at the moment, I must admit myself, but once it started to bloom and move, look at that, I'm so messy. I've got that pigment paste all over the place. Once it started to move, you'll be able to draw through it. I just use like the little sticks that I've just used for mixing with. You can draw through it with that. I have a little silicone mixing stick that I use for my resin, which come with one of my kits, and they're so messy. And they're so good. You just wipe them down. Absolutely brilliant. And you can just drag that through. If it's a little bit too thick, you can turn it to an angle. Absolutely anything. I mean, it does seem like it's starting to move a bit. Just need it to move a little bit more. The colours are blending so nice. Depends how big or how small you want to have your petals. A friend of mine that does it, she uses a cocktail stick because she likes them to be a little bit closer, or you can use the small lollipop sticks, whichever suits you best. I mean, I prefer myself to use an orange stick. So you can buy these. You can buy these orange sticks in 50s or 100s. I bought mine on eBay, and I think I paid about £2.30 for 100 orange sticks. And I find, so you've got the pointed end, but I find that this little chiselled end is just the right width. This is the same thing that I used when I did the pink and white roses. So I just used that little chiselled end, and I just gently dragged it through like that, all the way around in like a spiral motion till I got to the middle, give it a little swirl, and then straight up. So with a bit of luck, we are moving. Not very quickly, the room is quite warm, but we are moving. Now that that's settled a bit, just get a couple of them little bubbles out that are there. You don't need to really go too mad with it. That's better. I could just see a few little bubbles coming up onto the top, so hopefully, fingers crossed, it's going to move itself along ever so nicely. I dare say you don't want to listen to me for another 10 minutes, so we'll stop that one there, and then we'll put part 2 on.